The night had been quiet, almost too quiet, with only the hum of crickets and the soft rush of wind moving through the trees. Ethan had wandered farther than usual, carrying nothing but his backpack and a flashlight. He wasn't the type of man who searched for trouble, he was the type who ran from it. But something had pulled him deeper into the woods, a strange shimmer he'd seen the night before, like light breaking in a place it had no right to be. Tonight, curiosity weighed heavier than fear. The ground beneath his boots was damp, soft with moss and hidden roots, and the air tasted sharp, electric, as if a storm hovered close. He stopped when he saw it again, the glow. It was faint at first, like moonlight spilling in a circle on the ground, except the moon was nowhere near full. Ethan raised his flashlight, but the beam seemed to bend, swallowed by the glow instead of cutting through it. His chest tightened. Every instinct screamed at him to turn back, to walk away before whatever this was swallowed him whole. Yet his feet didn't move. Something inside whispered that if he left now, he would regret it forever. The glow pulsed. Once. Twice. And then it grew, unfolding like a curtain made of liquid glass. His breath caught as a shape appeared in the air before him. An oval, tall as a doorway, framed by crackling energy that rippled like water but hummed with a power he couldn't understand. A portal. That was the only word his mind could form. Impossible, yes. Unreal, definitely. But it was there, humming in the darkness, daring him to step closer. Ethan's flashlight flickered out. The night pressed in heavy and absolute, except for the radiant oval before him. His skin prickled, his heart thumped so hard he thought it might burst through his ribs. He stretched out a hand. Heat spilled from the surface, warmth mixed with a strange pull, as if the thing recognized him, as if it was alive and waiting. His fingers brushed the edge of the glow, and the world seemed to shift. For a heartbeat, he heard whispers, voices speaking in a language he could not recognize, soft and layered like dozens of echoes at once. He yanked his hand back, gasping. He should have run. He should have turned around and left this madness behind. But instead, Ethan did the opposite. He tightened his grip on his backpack strap, clenched his jaw, and stepped forward. The glow swallowed him. There was no sound, no weight, no air. He was falling yet standing still, moving yet frozen in place. Light flashed around him, colors he couldn't name, patterns that danced across his vision and burned into his mind. The whispers grew louder, then softer, then vanished into silence. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, it was over. Ethan stumbled forward, boots hitting stone instead of moss. He lifted his head, and froze. Before him stretched a city unlike anything he had ever seen. Towering spires of white stone glistened in the light of two suns that hung low in the sky. Bridges of glass arched over rivers that sparkled like liquid silver. Strange airships floated above, their hulls glowing faint blue, while creatures with wings soared between them, their feathers reflecting streaks of gold and crimson. The air smelled of something sweet and sharp, flowers and metal mixed together. It was beautiful, breathtaking, and completely alien. Ethan's throat went dry. He wasn't in the forest anymore. He wasn't even on Earth. Movement caught his eye. Across the wide street of shining stone, figures gathered. They were tall, elegant, their skin pale with faint glowing patterns running along their arms and faces. Their eyes were larger than his, shimmering in colors no human eye should carry. They spoke quickly to each other, their voices musical, their gazes fixed on him like he was some strange animal that had wandered into their world. One of them stepped forward. She was taller than the rest, her robes flowing like liquid light, her hair silver that seemed to move in the wind though the air was still. Her eyes were violet, glowing faintly, fixed on him with a sharp intensity that made his chest tighten. She raised a hand, and the others fell silent. "You came through," she said. Her voice was clear, accented but smooth, as though she had spoken his language for years. "The portal chose you." Ethan blinked. "Portal chose me?" His voice cracked in the alien silence. Her lips curved into something between a smile and a claim. "You are mine now. You belong to me." The words hit him like a hammer. Belong? To her? His pulse raced, confusion and fear crashing together in his mind. Who was she? What was this place? And why, out of everyone in the universe, had this portal dragged him here? Around them, the crowd began to whisper, their glowing eyes darting between him and the silver-haired woman. Ethan felt his knees weaken. Somewhere deep down, he understood. His life had just changed forever, and there was no going back. The human had barely taken 3 steps into this strange new world when he realized he was not alone. The portal behind him snapped shut with a flash of white light, leaving only silence and the faint hum of alien wind. He turned, trying to steady his breath, but before he could gather his thoughts, a sound cut through the still air, a voice. It wasn't the mechanical echo of machines, nor the harsh growl of some beast, but soft and commanding at the same time. It carried power, like a song sung by someone who expected the world to bend at every word. His eyes searched the landscape, the strange glowing trees and silver ground reflecting light from an unfamiliar sky. And then he saw her. She stood upon a ridge, her silhouette framed by the twin moons above. Tall, regal, and yet frightening in her stillness, the figure descended with movements too graceful to be anything human. As she approached, he noticed her robes shimmered like liquid crystal, changing color with each step. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with menace, but with an unsettling intensity, as though she was reading every thought in his head. And when she finally spoke again, her words left him frozen. "You have crossed into my realm," she said, her voice steady. "And by law, you are mine." The man blinked, unsure if he had misheard. "What?" His voice cracked, heavy with confusion. "Yours? What are you talking about?" The woman, no, the alien princess, looked at him as though the question itself was absurd. "The portal you walk through is bound by ancient code. Only one may open it in 1,000 cycles. That one is claimed. You stepped through. Therefore, you belong to me." Every instinct in his body screamed at him to run. Yet he couldn't. Not because she was blocking his path, but because her gaze pinned him to the ground like chains. There was no anger in her eyes, only certainty, as though the universe itself had already decided his fate. "I'm not anyone's," he managed to whisper, his fists tightening. "I didn't even know this place existed." Her lips curved into the faintest smile, though it was more chilling than kind. "Ignorance does not change destiny. You are human, yes. A rare being. Your kind vanished from these worlds long ago. And now, one has returned. To me." The man felt his chest tighten. His mind raced back to the portal, the strange storm that had led him to step through. Had it all been a trap? Or was this some kind of mistake? He wanted to deny her words, to argue, but as he stood there, he realized she believed what she said with unshakable certainty. "Listen," he said, forcing strength into his tone. "I don't know your laws. I don't know your people. I came here by accident. I'm going back." "You cannot," she interrupted, her tone sharper now. "The portal is closed. It only opens once. And you have chosen. Whether by chance or will, you are bound." Her words echoed across the silent plain. For the first time, he noticed there were no other voices, no other creatures moving around. It was as if the world itself waited, watching, for his response. The pressure was unbearable. Finally, he took a step back, shaking his head. "No. This isn't right. I don't belong here." The princess moved closer, the ground beneath her feet glowing faintly with each step. When she stood only a breath away, he felt her presence wash over him like a tide. She raised one hand, not to harm him, but to rest it lightly against his chest, right over his heart. Her touch was cool, almost electric, sending a shiver through him. "You belong more than you know," she said quietly. "Your kind was part of us once. And now you are returned. You are human, and you are mine." He staggered back, his pulse racing. He wanted to push her hand away, to break free from this claim, but something inside him hesitated. A part of him, the same part that had urged him to step through the portal, felt there was truth hidden in her words. That maybe, just maybe, he was meant to be here. But destiny or not, he was not ready to surrender. Then you're wrong, he said, his voice sharp now, cutting through the heavy air. If you think I'll just follow, you don't know me. Her smile grew wider this time, her eyes gleaming like stars. Good. Fight me, resist me, defy me. It changes nothing. The bond has already begun. You will see soon enough. No one escapes what is written. The wind picked up suddenly, carrying with it whispers that seemed to come from the ground itself. The trees bent, glowing brighter, and for a heartbeat the sky itself rippled. The man felt as though unseen forces had just marked him, stamped him with some fate he could neither see nor deny. His skin prickled, and when he glanced at his arm, he saw faint lines glowing beneath the surface of his flesh, strange symbols, alien and yet alive. He gasped, stumbling back. What is this? The mark, she said simply, her voice calm. The world accepts you. Now you cannot leave. The man looked at his arm, horror tightening his chest. He had wanted adventure, yes. He had wanted to step into something unknown. But not like this. Not as a prisoner. And not as someone else's property. Yet as he stared at the alien princess, who stood like a queen before him, he realized she wasn't lying. Whether by magic, technology, or something beyond either, he had been marked. And somewhere deep inside, beneath the fear and anger, he knew his life would never again belong only to him. The days that followed were strange, unlike anything he had ever imagined. Ethan found himself walking through long marble halls lined with glowing crystals, each humming softly as though alive. Servants and guards bowed as he passed, whispering words he couldn't understand, though their gazes carried a strange mix of respect and curiosity. And always, just a step behind him, the princess followed. She never let him out of her sight. Wherever he went, through gardens filled with silver-leaved trees, across bridges suspended over rivers of glowing blue water, into chambers where alien musicians played haunting songs, the princess was there. Her eyes followed him, calm and steady, as if she was waiting for something only she understood. At first, Ethan had tried to tell himself this was all a dream, that he would wake up in his small apartment on Earth with the sound of traffic outside his window. But the weight of the crown she wore, the sharpness of the guards' spears, the cold wind at night as it swept through tall alien towers, none of it felt like a dream. It was real. Too real. And the strange part was, the more time he spent here, the more the bond between him and the princess seemed to grow, though he couldn't explain how. One evening, as he sat in a vast chamber with food laid before him, strange glowing fruits and meat that shimmered faintly with light, the princess finally spoke in a language he understood. Her voice was clear, accented but powerful. "You do not understand why you are here," she said, her gaze fixed on him. Ethan nearly dropped the cup in his hand. "You speak English?" he asked in shock. She tilted her head slightly, her golden crown catching the light. "I learned your tongue long ago. I waited for you." Her words froze him. "Waited for me? I think you've got the wrong person. I don't even know who you are." But the princess only smiled, a small, knowing smile. "No, human. You are the one. The portal would not have opened otherwise. It chose you, just as I did." She leaned closer, her voice lowering. "You belong here. You belong to me." The words sent a chill down Ethan's spine. He wasn't sure if it was fear, awe, or something else entirely. "Why me?" he demanded. I'm just a guy. Nothing special. Back on Earth, I'm no one." For the first time, the princess's expression softened, almost sorrowful. "You do not see what you are yet. But I see. My people see. The blood of the portal does not make mistakes." That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. Her words echoed in his mind again and again. He lay awake in a chamber larger than any building he had ever lived in, staring at the glowing patterns on the ceiling. Why him? What did she mean by the blood of the portal? And why did her voice, calm and commanding, stir something in him that felt dangerously close to belief. The next morning, he tried to leave the palace. He wanted answers, to see what existed beyond these glittering walls. But the guards blocked his path, their tall figures and glowing armor like something from a nightmare. "No passage," one said in a deep, cold voice. The princess appeared moments later, her presence instantly parting the guards. "If you wish to see my world," she told him, "then I will show you. But you will not walk it alone." And so she led him beyond the palace gates. The city stretched for miles, towers carved into stone cliffs, glowing bridges arcing across deep canyons, ships that floated without wings above the ground. Everywhere he went, the people bowed to her. But when they saw him beside her, their faces tightened with fear. Some even backed away, as though he carried a curse. Ethan noticed it and whispered, "Why do they look at me like that?" The princess's eyes never wavered. "Because they know the prophecy," she said. "Because they know that the one who steps through the portal cannot return unchanged. And they fear what you will become." Ethan felt his stomach twist. Prophecy. Chosen one. A bond he didn't understand. And a princess who claimed he belonged to her. His life had changed forever, and the strange thing was, he wasn't sure if he wanted to fight it, or if part of him wanted to see where it led. But deep down, in a quiet corner of his mind, a question grew louder with every step. Was this destiny, or a trap? The world beyond the city walls was darker than Ethan had imagined. The silver towers and glowing bridges faded behind them, replaced by vast plains under a sky streaked with crimson clouds. Strange beasts roamed the fields, tall, armored creatures with too many eyes, their bodies glowing faintly in the gloom. The princess walked beside him without fear, her long cloak flowing like liquid fire behind her. The guards kept their hands on their weapons, eyes scanning the horizon. Ethan felt the weight of every step. He didn't belong here, and yet he was tied to this strange princess by something he couldn't see, something he couldn't break. They came to a cliff overlooking a valley. Below stretched a forest of black trees, their branches twisting like claws. Ethan stared in silence until the princess spoke. "Our enemies gather there," she said softly. "They have always waited in the shadows. But now they come sooner. Because of you." Ethan turned sharply. "Me? What do they want with me? I'm just—" But she silenced him with a glance. "Do not say you are nothing. They fear you. That is why they rise." As if to prove her words true, a horn echoed from the valley. Ethan's chest tightened. Shadows moved among the trees, hundreds, maybe thousands, marching in silence. He saw glints of steel, the glow of eyes, banners carried high with symbols he didn't recognize. The guards around him grew tense, forming a wall of armor between him and the valley below. Ethan swallowed hard. "We should go back," he whispered. But the princess only stood taller, her crown catching the last light of the dying sun. "No," she said firmly. "This is the moment. They will come for you, Ethan. But they will not take you." The first wave struck at nightfall. Dark figures swept out of the trees, their weapons burning with green fire. The ground shook as beasts charged with them, their roars echoing through the canyon. The guards clashed with the enemy, steel against fire, their glowing armor holding back the tide. Ethan stumbled backward, his heart pounding, until he felt the princess's hand grip his arm. Her eyes blazed like molten gold. "Do not run," she commanded. "You are not prey." He wanted to argue, to scream that he wasn't a warrior, that this wasn't his fight. But the words caught in his throat as something strange began to stir inside him. It was like fire running through his veins, hot and unyielding. His vision sharpened. His breath slowed. The chaos around him seemed to stretch, each movement slower, clearer, as if the world itself had bent to his senses. A soldier broke through the guard line, rushing straight toward Ethan with a blade of green fire. Ethan froze, until his hand shot out on its own, faster than thought. He caught the soldier's wrist mid-strike. For a heartbeat, silence. Then with a strength he didn't know he had, Ethan twisted and flung the soldier backward, sending the armored figure crashing into the rocks. The guards stared. Even the princess's eyes widened. Ethan looked down at his own hands, trembling. That wasn't possible. He had never fought anyone in his life, never trained, never held a weapon. But the power was real. He felt it burning inside him like it had always been there, waiting. The princess's voice cut through the battle. Low, fierce, filled with triumph. Now you begin to understand. The portal chose well. Ethan stood frozen as the fight raged around him, her words echoing louder than the clash of steel. Something inside him had awakened, and it terrified him more than the enemy at their gates. Because now, deep down, he knew she was right. The night burned with fire and screams. The battle did not end quickly. Waves of dark soldiers poured out from the forest, their eyes glowing like shards of ice. The guards fought bravely, their blades flashing in the dim light, but for every enemy they cut down, 2 more rose to take its place. Ethan stood in the middle of it all, trembling, his chest heaving, his heart hammering. The strange power inside him still surged like a storm beneath his skin. He didn't know how to control it, and he didn't know if he even wanted to. The princess stayed at his side, her voice calm even as chaos swirled around them. She spoke commands in a language he couldn't understand, and her guards obeyed without hesitation. She moved like someone born to the battlefield, fearless, unyielding, certain. Ethan hated how small he felt beside her. He wanted to run, to find a way back to his world, but there was no escape. The portal was gone, the sky itself burning with fire, and the enemy wasn't chasing her. They were chasing him. When the second wave struck, Ethan felt it before he saw it. A cold wind swept through the canyon, and the enemy forces split apart to make way for something larger. From the forest came a creature unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. It walked on 6 legs, taller than the city towers, its skin black and glistening like stone, its eyes glowing with green fire. Chains clattered against its body, and soldiers rode upon its back, chanting in a language that made Ethan's blood run cold. The guards faltered, fear breaking through their ranks. The princess only raised her hand, her golden crown shining. "Hold the line," she commanded. Her voice carried over the screams, steady and sharp. Ethan stared at the monstrous beast, his legs locked in terror. He whispered, "We can't fight that. We can't." But then the princess looked at him, her gaze cutting straight through him like a blade. "You can," she said. "The creature comes for you. End it." Ethan shook his head violently. "I'm not a soldier. I'm not a hero. I don't know how to fight." His voice cracked with panic, his hands trembling. But deep inside, the fire stirred again. It pulsed, stronger than before, demanding release. The beast roared, the ground shaking under its weight. Its claws tore through stone as it charged straight toward Ethan. He couldn't move. The guards shouted, forming a wall in front of him, but the monster swiped them aside like broken dolls. In that moment, something inside Ethan broke. He didn't choose. He didn't think. The fire simply exploded. A blinding light tore from his hands, crashing into the beast's chest. The roar of battle fell silent as the monster screamed, its black armor cracking, green fire spilling from its wounds. The energy kept flowing, unstoppable, burning the air itself. Ethan screamed as well, not from pain, but from terror at what he was becoming. When it was over, the beast collapsed into the canyon, its body burning, the enemy scattering in fear. Silence fell. Smoke rose from Ethan's hands. His breath came in ragged gasps, his eyes wide with horror. The princess stepped closer, her expression unreadable, her crown glowing faintly in the fading firelight. She whispered, almost like a prayer, "The power has awakened." Ethan staggered back, shaking his head. "No. That wasn't me. That can't be me." He felt sick, as if his very skin didn't belong to him anymore. The guards stared at him with awe and fear, whispering among themselves. To them, he wasn't human. He was something else. The princess reached out, resting her hand on his shoulder. Her touch was cold, steady. "Do you see now? You are the weapon they fear. You are why the portal opened." This is only the beginning. Ethan pulled away from her, his voice breaking. I don't want this. I don't want to be your weapon. But deep inside, he already knew he had no choice. The night after the battle, the camp was silent. The fires still burned low, casting flickering shadows across the broken canyon walls. The guards spoke in whispers, their eyes darting toward Ethan when they thought he wasn't looking. Some bowed their heads as he passed, as though he were holy. Others tightened their grips on their blades, as though they feared he might turn on them at any moment. Ethan felt trapped in their stares. He wanted to be invisible again. He wanted to go home. The princess never left his side. She sat near him, her crown resting at an angle, her face calm, her voice quiet. She didn't ask if he was afraid. She didn't ask if he was tired. Instead, she asked only one question. Do you feel the power inside you now? Ethan hesitated, staring at his hands. They were still trembling, though the battle was long over. He remembered the way the fire had torn through him, how the monster had screamed, how the earth itself had seemed to break under his power. He whispered, I feel it. I can't stop feeling it. It's like it's alive. The princess nodded, her eyes sharp and unreadable. It is alive. It is ancient. It chose you. Her words cut through him like a knife. Chosen. He never wanted to be chosen. He had been a normal boy, walking home from school, laughing with his friends, thinking about his future. And then the portal opened, and now everything was gone. His life. His family. His world. He wanted to scream at her, to tell her she was wrong. But part of him knew she wasn't. The fire inside him didn't feel like an accident. It felt like destiny. Later that night, when the camp finally slept, Ethan tried to slip away. He walked through the darkness, past the wounded soldiers, past the broken banners, past the burned ground where the beast had fallen. He thought he could find the forest again, maybe even find another portal. Maybe, if he prayed hard enough, the sky would open and let him fall back into his world. But the princess was already waiting for him at the edge of the canyon. Her golden crown gleamed in the starlight, her eyes reflecting the fire. She said nothing for a long time, and the silence crushed him. Then finally, she spoke. You cannot run. They will never stop hunting you. Do you not see? Tonight was only the first test. Ethan's fists clenched. His voice shook as he snapped. I'm not your soldier. I'm not your savior. I don't care about your war. The princess stepped closer, her cloak whispering across the stone. And if you do nothing, do you think they will let you live in peace? You saw the beast. You saw the army. They are not here for me. They are here for you. Because of what you carry inside. Ethan turned away, tears burning his eyes. Then I wish I never carried it. I wish I never came here. Her voice softened, and for the first time, she almost sounded human. Wishes do not change truth. You can fight it. Or you can die with it. The words crushed him. He wanted to argue. He wanted to scream. But deep inside, he knew she was right. The fire had marked him. The enemy would never stop. He was no longer just Ethan. He was something else. Something dangerous. When he finally returned to camp, the guards bowed their heads as he passed. They whispered a name he didn't understand. But the way they spoke it made his skin crawl. He asked the princess what it meant. She only smiled faintly and said, It means, weapon of the gods. Ethan didn't sleep that night. He lay awake, staring at his hands, wondering if he had already lost the person he used to be.